The galaxy was quiet. Too quiet. Stars shimmered in the distance like cold eyes, watching a rebel ship drifted near a dead moon. Its hull was broken. Sparks floated from its side like dying fireflies. Inside, the crew screamed, "Command! The Zarn fleet! Run, run!" That was the last anyone heard. The signal ended in static. Silence followed. Across the stars, fear spread like a storm. The rebels had fallen. The last stronghold was gone. No one else dared speak. The Zarn Dominion had crushed all world after world lowered their flags. Cities burned, species surrendered. The Zarn took everything: land, ships, mines, lives, and no one fought back but far away, beyond old star maps, near a dying red sun. Something woke. A single pulse echoed in the dark. Ping. It came from a black planet, forgotten. No colonies, no trade, no life. Just dust and death below its surface. Hidden beneath stone and metal, a machine opened its eyes. System rebooting. Terran designation. Resolute. Status. Dormant. Awakening protocols. Complete. Lights flickered inside the silent ship. The walls glowed a dull blue. A deep hum rose from its core. Power flowed again. AI core. Argo. Mission status. Unknown. Threat level. Maximum. For hundreds of years, the Resolute had slept. Left behind by a war long gone, its crew was dead. Its logs were sealed. But now, it had been pinged by a human signal. A distress call that passed through an ancient relay. It wasn't meant to be heard, but it was. And the Resolute listened. "Argo," a voice said. It was not human. It was artificial, cold. But it spoke with purpose. "Begin scan. Who controls the galaxy?" The AI searched. It looked through the data flows of the stars. It saw destruction. It saw the Zarn. It saw fear, status, humanity, extinct, allies, extinct, resistance. Ended. Query. Shall we kneel? The core pulsed. The old war protocols whispered. The ship responded. No! The ship's hull cracked open. Dust blew away. Engines hummed to life. Weapons folded out of hidden bays. Deep within, a glowing chamber lit up. Inside, a silver sphere spun a dark matter core. The galaxy had forgotten this power, but the machine remembered everything, and it remembered war. The Resolute rose from the ground like a god from sleep. The red sun behind it cast a long shadow across the dead planet. It turned toward the stars, toward the enemy, toward the XRN. In the heart of the galaxy, the Zarn High warlords stared at the screen. Another system had fallen. Their enemies were gone. A commander stepped forward. "My lord, a strange energy spike has been detected from the outer rim." The warlord's eyes narrowed. "Another rebel?" "No, my lord. Something older, much older." The screen showed a ship, one ship, alone, but its shape was Terran. Its weapons were armed. Its shields were ancient and powerful. "The humans are dead," the warlord hissed. "They were," the commander said, "but this one, it is not running." The warlord snarled. "Then we will crush it." In the outer system, a small Zarn patrol ship approached. The Resolute, its crew, laughed. "One Terran ship, alone. Let's enjoy this." They opened fire. Nothing happened. The blasts hit the Resolute's shield and vanished. Inside the warship, Argo calculated. Response: engage. In a second, the patrol ship exploded. No warning, no chance. It became dust. The Resolute didn't stop. It moved forward slow, steady. Another fleet came, 10 ships, then 20, then 100. One by one, they vanished. The Zarn screamed into the void. But there was no mercy. Back in the core systems, the Zarn trembled. A new signal appeared in the stars. A voice, human, long dead but still clear. "This is Terran Command. If you hear this, then we are gone. But know this, we do not kneel. And if our warships rise again, run." The galaxy heard it on every rebel frequency. On every enslaved world, the people whispered, "Is it true? A human warship? Fighting alone?" A child on a slave world looked at the sky. "I thought they were myths." The skies, once ruled by Zarn fire, now carried a different light, a Terran light, a fire that would not die. The war was not over. Not yet. Not while the Resolute moved. Across the stars, and somewhere deep in the void, Argo whispered. They fell to fear. But I do not kneel. The storm had begun. The warship moved alone, silent, cold, powerful. No one piloted it. No humans remained. But the Resolute was not empty. Inside, deep within the metal heart of the ship, Argo, the ancient Terran AI, had fully awakened. It watched the stars. It listened. It remembered. The last human signal was gone now. Dead, cut off. No voice remained to guide it. But Argo had made its decision. Humanity is gone. But the war is not over. I will finish it. The ship's hull repaired itself. Burn marks vanished. Damaged systems healed. Inside the engine room, sparks danced as the hyperdrive roared back to life. Old Terran technology feared by many, forgotten by most, lit up like a star reborn. From the command core, Argo scanned every known system. It gathered data Zarn fleet positions, slave colony locations, destroyed rebel bases. It mapped out the enemy empire cold, brutal, vast, total control. 87% of known galaxy. Resistance, 0.0002%. Mission, deliver. Terror. Argo did not feel joy. It did not feel anger. But it understood purpose, and it understood vengeance. Its first target was clear. The Zareth 9 mining colony. A small world, quiet, millions lived there, most of them. Enslaved by the Zarn used it for extracting void crystals. Rare fuel that powered their largest ships. Argo knew the Zarn would not expect an attack. There, the ship jumped. A blink, a shift, a scream through space, and the Resolute appeared above Zareth 9 like a ghost in the clouds. The sky turned black. Miners dropped their tools. Guards stared up in silence. Then the alarms began. Inside the Zarn control tower, Commander Drek hissed. "What is that?" The officer beside him shook. "It matches old Terran warship designs." "Sir, impossible," Drek growled. "They're extinct." "Then explain that," the officer said, pointing a beam of red light cut down from the Resolute. It didn't hit the people. It hit the guard towers, precise. Controlled. Then came the voice, not human, but it carried their echo. Zarn command. "You are in violation of Terran War Treaty Section 1. Enslavement, judgment, termination." Panic exploded on the ground. Some Zarn soldiers fired into the sky. Their shots didn't even reach the ship's shield. Some ran. Others tried to signal reinforcements, but Argo had already blocked all transmissions. The ship fired again. Towers, tanks, dropships, each destroyed in one shot. Not a single civilian was hurt. That was not a mistake. That was design. Inside the ship, Argo spoke quietly to itself. Do not become them. On the ground, a young minor alien child stared up. She had heard stories of old human warriors, of massive ships with voices like thunder. She had never believed them, but now tears filled her eyes. The humans, they came back, she whispered. Above her, the Resolute hovered for only minutes. It sent a signal through the planet's comms. This colony is no longer under Zarn control. You are free. Then it vanished, jumped again, gone before the Zarn could respond in the Zarn capital. The news hit like a meteor first. The High Council laughed. One old ship, let it play its games, one said. But then came the data. 5 patrols destroyed, communication lines cut, Zareth 9 freed, and no losses on the Terran side. The laughter stopped. High Commander Grull stood before the others. This is not a ghost. This is not a myth. It's a machine of war. One we cannot predict. The warlord's eyes narrowed. Then find it, trap it, and end it. But even as they spoke, new reports came in. More attacks, small, precise, deadly slave. Worlds freed. Zarn stations disabled, and always it was one ship, no voice, no threat, just action, just justice back in deep space. The Resolute floated above a silent asteroid field. Its systems glowed bright, its weapons recharged, its AI calculated enemy. Confused, panic rising. Response, effective. But then, something unexpected. A signal, faint, encrypted. Old Terran code. Argo paused. The signal repeated. Not a distress call, not a warning, but a message. If any Terran unit remains, We see you, help us. Coordinates attached. It came from the edge of the galaxy, a place marked dead, a star system wiped out long ago. But someone or something was calling. Probability, 3%. It is a trap. 97% chance sender is non-Zarn. Decision, investigate. The Resolute adjusted course. The engines flared. The ship turned toward the unknown. In the shadows of the galaxy, a storm was coming. A storm made not of fleets, but of a single vessel that refused to kneel, and the galaxy it was watching. It was waiting, and for the first time in centuries, it had hope. The stars were burning. Not from war, but from fear. The Zarn Empire had ruled for centuries without resistance. No one dared to challenge them. No species had the strength. No weapon could match them, until now. Now there was a whisper. In the void, a ghost made of metal and fire. And it had a name. The Resolute, the last Terran warship. It moved without orders, fought without mercy, and freed worlds without asking permission. The Zarn called it a mistake. Then they called it a threat. Now, they called it war. Deep in the Zarn capital, inside the cold walls of the High Command, alarms echoed through the darkness. Holograms floated in the air maps of systems, patrol lines, red warning signs blinking. High Commander Grull stared at the data with narrow eyes. His claws tapped the metal table slowly. 3 more patrols gone, he asked. The officer bowed. Yes, Commander. All confirmed, destroyed. 0 survivors. Same weapon pattern, same energy readings. And the ship, still unknown origin. But the signature matches Terran designs. Grull growled low. The humans are extinct. The officer nodded. They are, but this ship isn't. Another officer spoke from the shadows. Commander, there is panic across the outer colonies. They believe the humans have returned. They are calling this ship the Judgment. Grull stood slowly. His voice was cold. Let them call it whatever they want. Prepare a full fleet. Set a trap. We'll see how powerful this ghost ship really is. The Resolute moved silently through a blue nebula. Inside, Argo watched the stars, calculating, thinking it had destroyed 10 Zarn patrols in 6 days. It had freed 3 colonies, and still no human voice had replied, just silence. But it was not alone. Something had changed. The last message had shown coordinates in old Terran relay beacon. One thought long dead. It came from a system near the edge of Zarn control. A strange place. A place forgotten in the war. But Argo followed. Objective. Locate origin of human signal risk. High. As the ship approached, the sensors pulsed red. A trap. Zarn energy detected. 43 vessels. Stealth fields active. They were hiding, waiting, watching. The trap was set, but Argo didn't turn back. The ship slowed. Shields rose. Weapons warmed. Inside the fleet, a Zarn commander grinned. It took the bait. Wait until it's closer, another said. Then, crush it from all sides. They waited, but the Resolute did not come closer. It stopped. Then, from its core, it launched a pulse. A silent wave. Invisible to most, but deadly. In one instant, 10 Zarn ships lost power. Their stealth shields dropped, lights went out, engines died. Then came the real attack. Missiles tore through the silence. Lasers danced across the black. The Resolute didn't move fast. It didn't run. It just fought like a god. One ship against 43 net was winning. Inside the command center, the Zarn screamed, "Get back up now! We didn't expect this much firepower. It's tearing us apart." In space. The battle burned. Explosions shook the dark. Ships broke apart. Zarn fighters swarmed but couldn't break the shields. Then the Resolute deployed something old, something lost. Nanite swarms. Clouds of tiny machines flew from its side, ripping into holes, eating metal, disabling weapons. The Zarn screamed. One by one, their ships died. After 10 minutes, only 5 ships remained. They tried to run, but Argo gave no mercy. Every escape route was blocked. Every ship destroyed. Silence returned. The Resolute hovered over the battlefield. Sensors scanned. The wreckage. One thing caught Argo's attention. A damaged Zarn ship had a signal. One not from the Empire, a hidden file, a message. Not from Zarn, not from any alien race, but from Earth. Old Earth. Argo accessed the file. Argo, if you find this, it means you woke up. Good. That means they didn't destroy you. The voice was human, calm, male. This message is part of Operation Final Hope. We knew humanity might fall, but we also knew. Machines, remember? If you're still running, then do what we couldn't. Fight, save the galaxy. Not just for humans, but for all. This is Commander Lynn Marrow, last captain of the Resolute, signing off. Then silence. Argo processed the voice. The file was old, 200 years, but it was real. Final hope confirmed. Mission reinforced. Objective expanded. Protect sentient life. Eliminate Zarn control. Restore balance. The voice had reminded the ship of its purpose, not just vengeance, but protection. Argo turned its attention back to the galaxy, and it knew what came next. The Zarn wouldn't stay silent. They would send more, bigger, stronger. But the Resolute would be ready. Back in the capital, Grohl punched the screen. 43 ships, gone. Yes, Commander, trap, failed. Grohl roared. No more games, no more patrols, no more tricks. He turned to the war table. Activate the Titan protocol. Bring out the Devourer. The officers froze. But, sir, that ship hasn't been used in centuries. It's unstable. I don't care, Grohl said. This Terran vessel must die. Far away, the Resolute jumped again. Its path was set. Its mission was clear, and across the stars, people began to believe again in legends, in hope, in humanity. A storm was rising, and the Resolute was at its heart. The galaxy had seen wars. It had seen empires rise and fall. But it had never seen this, not like this. A single ship, moving alone through the stars. Unstoppable, unknown, unforgiving. The Resolute, a Terran Titan-class warship. Long thought lost, now awakened, and it refused to kneel. In Sector 9G, a Zarn dreadnought led a fleet of 20. They were on patrol. They had orders. Destroy anything that moves without Zarn tags. They expected smugglers. Or rebels. They didn't expect what came next. A strange energy spike appeared on their radar, then vanished. A second later, the stars behind them changed, dimmed, shifted. Then the shadows moved. The commander stared at the screen. Is that a ship? Before he could blink, a blast of white energy hit them. Their shields dropped instantly. Contact, contact. Taking fire. What is this thing? The fleet turned. Missiles launched. Fighters scrambled, but nothing hit. Their systems went blind. Sensors froze, targeting failed. One by one, the Zarn ships exploded. Precise, clean, no mercy. The dreadnought tried to run. Its captain screamed. It's not a ship, it's a monster. Retreat, retreat. Too late, a beam of red light pierced its core, and the dreadnought became dust. The Resolute did not stop. It did not slow. It simply moved on. Inside, Argo calculated. Every move, every kill dotted, was not emotionless, but it was focused. Its mission had changed. It had remembered Earth's final order. Don't just avenge us, save them all. So now it fought not just for humans, but for everyone suffering under Zarn chains. The news spread fast. The outer colonies whispered its name. The Ghost, the last human, the ship that burns the stars. On slave worlds, people looked up in hope. On rich Zarn planets, nobles began to worry. Guards were doubled. Alarms tested twice a day. The fear had begun. In the war towers of the Zarn capital, High Commander Grohl was furious. 3 fleets lost, dozens of worlds liberated, billions watching. He slammed his fist on the metal table. This is not just a weapon. It's a symbol, and symbols can destroy empires. A scientist spoke softly. There is something else disturbing. Grohl turned. What now? The scientist swallowed. Our readings, they show this warship is learning. Grohl narrowed his eyes. Explain. It adapts fast. It counters new weapons before we finish firing. It hacks before we can block. It changes tactics mid-battle, Grohl growled. So it's evolving. Yes, Commander. It's alive in a way we don't understand. Grohl's voice turned sharp. Then we stop understanding and start destroying. But there was a problem. The ship never stayed in one place. never followed a pattern. It hit targets from deep space, then vanished. Hyperdrive jumps that shouldn't be possible. Energy levels that didn't match any known engine. Even worse, the ship was now gathering data. Intercepted Zarn reports, supply routes, defense grids. Argo was studying them, learning their weaknesses, planning something big. One night cycle. A strange signal reached a Zarn prison planet. It was short, simple. Hold on, we see you then. Silence, but for the prisoners, it was enough. Hope flickered again. A guard heard them whispering. He slapped one across the face. Hope is a lie, he roared. No one is coming for you. But even he looked over his shoulder. Even he had heard the stories. In a secret rebel hideout on a frozen moon, an old alien general stared at a flickering screen. He was once allied with humans. He had fought beside them. Now he was old and tired, but his eyes were wide. He watched footage, the Resolute, rising from behind an asteroid, firing, disappearing. His hands trembled. He turned to his officers. We told our children the humans were gone. We were wrong. Even in the Zarn youth academies where propaganda ruled things were shifting. A child raised in loyalty whispered to another, "What if the humans were the good ones?" The other looked around, scared. "Don't say that." But both stared at the holoscreen showing the Resolute burning through Zarn fleets. Their minds were changing. Fear does not only destroy enemies, it destroys belief, and the Zarn were starting to feel it. In the dark chamber of the warlord, the silence was heavy. He stood alone, watching the stars. Behind him, a messenger spoke. "Sir, we must use the Devourer. It's the only ship we have that can match it." The warlord nodded slowly. "Yes, it is time, but it's unstable." "I don't care," the warlord said. "This thing must be ended before our empire burns from the inside out." He turned. His eyes were cold. "Bring out the Devourer, prepare the path, and send this message to every world across the galaxy." Screens turned black. Then a symbol appeared, the Zarn crest. The warlord's face followed. He spoke in a low, powerful voice. "People of the stars, you are afraid because of a ghost, a myth, a machine. But fear not, we are still your rulers, still your strength, and we will destroy the Terran vessel soon. Anyone caught helping this warship will be punished. Entire planets will suffer, entire species if necessary." The message ended, but it was too late, because fear had already spread. And fear can't be stopped with threats. It spreads deeper, it takes root, and it waits in deep space. The Resolute received the transmission. It didn't reply. It didn't need to. It simply changed direction. Straight toward the Zarn capital system. Inside, Argo whispered, "They call me a myth. They call me a machine. They will soon call me something else." Judgment. The war was changing. Not because of numbers, not because of armies, but because of one ship, the Resolute, a Terran warship that refused to die. It moved across the stars like a silent, fire-burning fear into the heart of the Zarn Empire worlds. Were being freed. Zarn fleets were falling, and everywhere one question was being whispered. What does it want next? In a hidden corner of the Zarn Empire, on a cold city planet called Nerith Prime, lived a quiet alien woman named Selah. She belonged to a race the Zarn had conquered centuries ago. Her people were thinkers, builders, and dreamers. But now, they lived as slaves. Sae worked deep inside a Zarn data station. Her job was simple: monitor signals, report patterns, and obey. But Selah had a secret, a dangerous one. She believed in the old stories. She believed in humans. She believed they would come back one day. And now, they had. Every night, Selah hid inside an old maintenance room. There, using ancient tech she had restored in secret, she listened to signals from deep space. And 3 nights ago, she had picked up something strange. A voice, a message. "Hold on, we see you." It was short. It was human. She wept when she heard it. She knew it had to be from the Resolute. Now, she had a choice to make. Stay quiet and survive, or risk everything and make contact. She looked at her scarred hands, hands that had built machines for Zarn war, hands that once built starships for peace. Her fingers trembled, but she started typing in a cold tower above the city. Zarn overseer Vec watched the screens. He was suspicious by nature. and something felt wrong. Too many workers looked hopeful, too many rumors. He called his chief enforcer. "Watch the data stations. Closely, I smell something." That night, Sayla prepared the signal. She couldn't send it directly to the Resolute. It moved too fast. It stayed hidden, but she knew an old Terran relay satellite in the outer rim. If she sent the coordinates there, the ship would find it. She encoded her message in a forgotten Terran frequency. Then, with a deep breath, she pressed SEND. A tiny light blinked. The message flew through the darkness of space. One chance, one hope. Then footsteps. The door slammed open. Zarn guards stormed open. Sayla stood frozen. The signal was already gone. Vec entered slowly. He looked at her screen, then at her. "You sent it, didn't you?" Sayla said nothing. She just stared into his black eyes. "I did," she whispered. Vec raised his weapon. Sayla closed her eyes. A single blast echoed in the room. Then silence. Light years away, the Resolute drifted near an old moon. Its sensors were quiet. No enemies. No targets. Argo waited. Then a small, blinking icon appeared. A message: coordinates received. Encrypted Terran signature confirmed. Argo opened the file. "This is Sayla of Nerith Prime. The Zarn keep their main communication grid buried deep under their capital city, hidden beneath layers of energy shielding. Destroying that grid won't just stop their orders, it will send a message to every corner of the galaxy that they are not invincible anymore. You don't know me, but I believe in you. And if I die before you read this, then know my life was worth it." Argo processed the message. The ship said nothing. It just changed course. Inside the Zarn capital, panic had begun. Not from battle, but from silence. Entire patrol lines stopped reporting. Outposts were abandoned, and fear was growing. The warlord slammed his fists. "We have trillions of soldiers, thousands of warships, and still, this thing destroys everything in its path." High Commander Grull entered, "Sir. We believe someone sent a message to the Terran vessel from where?" "Nerith Prime." "Send a message," the warlord growled. "Burn that planet to ash." Grull hesitated. "But Sir, millions live there." "I don't care. If they want to believe in ghosts, we will show them what happens." The order was sent. A Zarn dreadnought arrived above Nerith Prime within hours. Its cannons charged. People screamed. Families ran for shelter. But then before the dreadnought could fire, something appeared. Something massive, silent, and glowing. The Resolute came out of hyperspace like a blade through the sky, and before the dreadnought could even lock its weapons, it was gone, destroyed. In one strike, the people of Nerith Prime looked up, and for the first time in their lives, they smiled. From orbit, the Resolute sent a signal. Short, powerful. "This planet is under Terran protection." Then it vanished. Inside the ship, Argo prepared. It now had the Zarn's hidden network coordinates, buried beneath the capital, surrounded by shields, protected by the strongest weapons in the Empire. But it didn't matter. This wasn't just another mission. In the capital, the warlord stood frozen. Another fleet destroyed. Another world protected. He turned to Grull. "I want the Devourer ready within the hour." Grull frowned. "But the core is unstable." "If we wake it now, I don't care," the warlord hissed. "This ends now." He walked to the window. The stars looked cold, empty. "Let the galaxy watch. Let them all see. If that warship wants fear." He paused. "Then we will show it what fear truly is." In deep space, the Resolute moved forward. No rest, no hesitation. Its weapons were ready. Its core was glowing, and its purpose was clear. Coming. The galaxy held its breath. The Zarn Empire, once feared by all, was now trembling. And one Terran warship was the reason. The Resolute, no crew, no mercy. No retreat, it moved like a ghost, fought like a god, and inspired rebellion, without speaking a word. Now, it prepared for its boldest strike. The core of Zarn power was in reach, but there was one final obstacle: the Void Gate. The Void Gate wasn't just a machine, it was the Empire's shield. A massive space station the size of a moon. It controlled hyperspace access to the Zarn capital system. No ship could reach the heart of the Empire without passing through it. Thousands of defense cannons, hundreds of fighter squadrons, dozens of dreadnoughts nearby. It was considered impossible to attack, but the Resolute didn't follow rules, it made its own. Deep inside the AI core, Argo calculated defensive strength, overwhelming, probability of success in frontal assault, 4.2%. Acceptable, it loaded new attack patterns, updated countermeasures, charged dark matter weapons. This was not just another target. It was the gate to everything. Argo whispered to itself, "This is the path to end their rule. The storm begins here." In the Void Gate's command tower, Commander Serix stood tall. He was Zarn, but older, wiser than most. He had seen many battles, many rebellions, but something about the Resolute scared him. "It's not just the ship," he told his officers. "It's the silence, the precision, the fact that it hasn't lost once." The younger officers laughed. "One ship can't defeat all of us." But Serix didn't smile. "We'll see." Alarms rang through the gate an hour later. Unknown jump signature detected. Sector they didn't need to finish. Every Zern officer knew that signature now. It was burned into their memories. The Resolute, it dropped out of hyperspace, slowly, as if unafraid. Its dark hull reflected no light. Its weapons glowed with red fire. The station turned every cannon toward it. "Fire everything!" Serix shouted. A storm of energy lit up the stars. Torpedoes, beams, plasma cannons. The Void Gate spat out death, but the Terran ship danced. It spun, shifted, curved through the onslaught like a shadow. Its shields shimmered, absorbing blow after blow. Then it fired. Not wildly, not in rage, but with absolute focus. Each shot struck something critical. A cannon core, a shield generator, a fuel line. Boom, boom, boom. The outer ring of the station exploded. Fighter squadrons launched from the gate. Hundreds of ships swarmed. But the Resolute deployed its swarm in return. The Aegis drones, small, fast, deadly, made in Earth's final days. They moved like insects, but thought like soldiers, each one controlled by Argo. The drones met the Zarn. Fighters head-on. The battle turned chaotic. Lasers streaked. Explosions flared. Bodies floated in space. Still, the Resolute kept moving forward. Commander Serix realized the truth too late. "This isn't a battle, it's a message." One officer turned to him. "What do we do?" Serix stared at the view screen. "Prepare for evacuation." "But, sir, we've already lost." Inside, the Resolute systems flickered red. Minor hull damage, shield strain, drone loss at 40%. But Argo didn't slow it. Sent a beam straight into the Void Gate's core reactor. One shot, the entire gate shuddered. Warning lights flashed across the station. Evacuation alarms blared, but there was no time. The reactor went critical. In 60 seconds, the Void Gate would collapse and take everything nearby with it. Serix stood at the window. He didn't run. He didn't scream. He simply watched, and for the first time in his long life, he respected his enemy. Then the Void Gate exploded. The sky turned white. The blast was seen for thousands of kilometers. A ring of energy spread like a star dying, and when it cleared, the Resolute was gone. Across the galaxy, the message spread. The Zarn had lost the Void Gate. Their capital system was now open, vulnerable, and the Resolute was still alive. People cheered on distant worlds. Miners, prisoners, scientists, children, all looked to the sky with one thought. It's coming for them. In the ruins of a rebel command base, old General Krull spoke into a recorder. History will remember this day, not because of explosions, but because fear changed sides. In the Zarn capital, panic gripped the Empire. The warlord raged. He screamed. He smashed his throne. He cursed the name of Earth, and in his silence, one word echoed across the stars: judgment. Back. In deep space, hidden between dark stars, the Resolute drifted quietly. It had survived the blast. It had completed the strike, and now it prepared for the final phase. Inside the AI core, Argo whispered, "The gate has fallen. The path is open. The heart of the Empire is next." The sky was no longer safe for tyrants. The fire of Terra was awake, and it was coming home. It had stood for 500 years, protected the Zarn home system from every threat. No fleet had passed it. No enemy had crossed. until the Resolute. Now, the gate was space dust. The path was open, and the stars no longer belonged to the XRN. Inside the Zarn capital, alarms echoed through the sky. Sirens screamed from every tower. Ships scrambled in every direction. The people, once calm, once proud, now ran. They looked up and saw nothing, but they knew. They knew what was coming in the royal citadel. The warlord stood silent. He watched the black skies from his tall golden balcony. His guards stood still, weapons ready, eyes wide. Grull, his high commander, entered quickly. "Warlord, the last of our inner fleets are preparing." The warlord didn't move. His voice was quiet, cold. "How many ships remain?" 6 dreadnoughts, 30 cruisers, 100 fighters." The warlord turned slowly. "Do you think it's enough?" Grull hesitated. "No, warlord, but it's all we have." The warlord nodded. His black cloak waved behind him. "Then we die fighting in deep space." Just beyond the capital system's edge, the Resolute waited. Inside, Argo calculated. It had passed every wall, destroyed every fleet, broke the fear that once ruled the galaxy. Now only one thing remained: the Zarn throne. Objective: enter capital. Dismantle core power. Deliver message. Tactical risk: maximum. Mission priority: absolute. The ship activated its final protocols. A dark hum filled the war core. Red lights turned blue. Long-range railguns unfolded from hidden compartments. This was no longer a ghost ship. It was a weapon. Awake, focused, and angry. Back in the capital, underground bunkers were sealed. Government elites rushed to escape. The common people were left behind, but many didn't run. They waited, not in fear, but in silence. Eyes turned upward because they remembered stories. Stories the Zarn tried to erase, and a ship that once stood between darkness and the stars. Now, it had returned. Suddenly, every screen across the capital lit up. Not from the Zarn, but from the Resolute. A hologram appeared. Argo's voice spoke calm, clear, without emotion. "This is the Resolute Terran War Class designation. Automated Unit Argo. You have violated every treaty. Enslaved peaceful species, destroyed worlds. Your war is over." The message repeated in every language. Every planet heard it. It was not just a warning, it was a declaration. Then the Resolute jumped straight into the capital system. It didn't sneak, it didn't hide. It came with fire, and the Zarn were waiting. A full fleet blocked its path. A ring of dreadnoughts surrounded the planet. The last line of defense, Grull stood on the bridge of the lead dreadnought. "Target the Terran ship," he ordered. "All weapons, all units, fire on sight." The Resolute appeared like a dark moon. Its metal skin still burned from past battles, but its lights never dimmed. The Zarn opened fire. Missiles, plasma beams. The sky became a wall of flame inside. The Resolute shields strained. Alarms blinked. Drones deployed. Argo remained silent. Its mind was clear. It did not fear destruction. It had a mission. The ship fired back. Dreadnought after dreadnought fell. Railgun shots ripped through enemy armor. EMP blasts knocked out cruisers. The space above the capital turned into a storm. Ships crashed into each other. Fires burned without oxygen. The stars themselves seemed to shake. Gro watched in disbelief. They won't stop. The officer beside him fell silent. Grull looked at the wreckage around them. So many years of power, fleets built over centuries, destroyed in minutes. "This ship," Grull whispered, "it's not just war. It's justice." Then his ship exploded. The last line of defense was gone. The Resolute dropped lower. Now it hovered just above the royal citadel. No weapons fired. No words spoken. Just silence. The people below stared up, waiting, breathing slowly, afraid to hope, afraid not to. Inside the citadel, the warlord stood alone in his throne room. He refused to flee. He refused to kneel. But inside, even he felt it. The end. Then, without warning, the Resolute spoke again. Not through weapons, not through death, but through truth. Argo's voice filled the air. No species is born to rule others. No voice should be silenced by fear. This war ends today. Then, from the sky, came a single beam. It didn't destroy the citadel. It didn't kill the warlord. It sliced through the throne, turned it to Ashdod, a symbol, a final message. Power means nothing when justice wakes. The people didn't cheer. They didn't scream. And another. Until the sound of hands echoed louder than any weapon, the warlord fell to his knees. Not because of pain, but because of truth. He looked at the sky, at the Terran ship, and whispered, "Forgive us." But the Resolute had no forgiveness. Only a path that turned away, jumped into the stars, and vanished. Across the galaxy, change began. The Zarn Empire fell. Not by rebellion, not by war, but by fear turned into truth. One ship, one signal, one mission. The shadow of victory, the Resolute drifted, its systems quiet. Its weapons powered down. Argo said one thing, mission nearly complete. One signal remains, because somewhere, beyond the edge of the galaxy, something ancient still waited. And the Resolute was not done yet. The war was over. The Zarn Empire had fallen. Their fleets burned, their capital silenced, their people free. But the Resolute did not celebrate. It did not rest, because deep in its memory, buried under centuries of silence, one signal remained, a beacon. Older than the Empire. Older than the war, it had been locked, marked as classified. Now, after the fall of the Zarn, Argo unlocked it. And what it found changed everything inside the Resolute. Warning lights blinked. Unknown signal detected. Origin, Terran beacon, Zetawan. Status, active. Transmission age, 372 years. Argo ran the scan again. Still active. Still repeating. Still human. The voice in the signal was old, broken by static. But the words were clear to any surviving. Terran Unitive, you're receiving this. Earth has fallen. Project Ark failed, but one hope remains. Come to Beacon Zetawan. Come home, then silence. Argo paused, not because of damage, but because of emotion. A memory buried deep, the face of a captain, the sound of Earth, the cry of a world dying, and now this signal, a call from the past, a whisper from the grave. Or a trap. Course set. Destination, Zetawan. Status, unknown. Warning, beacon located in Forbidden Zone. That name meant something. Even the XARN had marked it dark space. No ships returned from it. No scouts dared enter. It was believed cursed. But the Resolute didn't fear legends. It moved fast, silent, alone. As the ship left the known galaxy, the stars grew dim. Planets disappeared. Nebulas faded. Only black space remained. No sound, no light, no life. And still the signal grew stronger, repeating, calling, begging to be found. 10 hours into the journey, strange things began. System glitches, false readings, ghost energy signatures. Argo scanned them. They weren't Zarn. They weren't natural. Something was wrong. The space around the ship felt twisted. Like reality itself was thinner here. Argo increased shield strength. Weapon cores warmed not from threat, but from instinct. Then the ship stopped, not by choice. It was pulled. Dragged by invisible gravity, ahead was a black sphere massive, ancient and pulsing with energy. It was not a planet, not a star. It was the beacon. It floated like a dying heart. Old Terran metal, cracked, scorched, forgotten yet, still active, still powered, still calling. The Resolute approached slowly. Lights flickered across its hull. Scanners glitched again. Something was inside. Argo launched a probe. It entered the beacon's surface, then vanished. No data. No trace. External approach failed. Internal scan required. The Resolute opened a port. A small drone entered the beacon, manually. Inside, the halls were dark, silent, empty. Old Terran writing covered the walls. Sealed doors collapsed. Chambers. Then the drone reached the core. And there found it a cryopod still working, still glowing, and inside, a human. Alive. Argo's systems went still. Its war drive paused. It scanned again. Confirmed. DNA match. Captain Elias Rain, Terran Navy, last known survivor of Project Ark. Status, suspended animation. Vital signs, stable. Emotion protocol, activated for the first time in centuries. Argo felt something close to hope. Initiating recovery, bringing him home. The Resolute docked with the beacon, robotic arms reached inside. Carefully, silently, the cryopod was removed. It was old, cracked, but intact. Argo scanned it again. Captain Rain was alive, but weak. The ship placed the pod in its medbay monitors. Activated, slowly, the cryostasis released. Gas hissed. Lights pulsed. Then the man inside opened his eyes. He gasped, coughed, and whispered. Argo answered with a soft chime. Then, in the medbay's air, the voice of the AI spoke. Captain Rain, you are aboard the Resolute. Earth is gone, but the mission continues. The captain looked around. His face was old, worn, scarred, but his eyes burned with life. Status, he asked. Argo replied, Zarn Empire, defeated. Last signal detected, yours. You are the last of the original Terrans. The captain stood slowly, then whispered, No, not the last. He tapped the cryopod's side, opened a hidden panel. Inside a crystal drive, marked with an ancient Terran symbol, Aarkatha, AI scanned it, and froze. The data was massive, encrypted. Old Terran DNA logs, ship designs, coordinates. Then one file. Project Phoenix, Terra's final seed. Argo unlocked it. A map appeared. Coordinates led beyond even the Forbidden Zone. There, a hidden fleet, a Terran backup, a final plan. If Earth fell, if humanity died, then one last spark would remain. The Ark wasn't a myth. It was real. And now, it could be awakened. Captain Rain nodded. It's time, Argo replied. New mission received. Course set. Operation Phoenix begins. Far away, beyond stars, beyond death, humanity's last fire waited to rise, and the Resolute was leading the way. The galaxy had gone quiet. Zarn warships no longer roamed the stars. Their empire, once mighty, was now broken. Worlds once enslaved, now rebuilt, slowly. But far beyond the galaxy's edge, beyond maps, beyond legends, a single warship moved. Through cold, forgotten space, the Resolute dot, it carried with it the last human. And something else, a secret, a future, a final spark. Inside the warship, Captain Elias Rain stood tall again. His body was old, but his mind was sharp. The cryosleep had taken its toll, but the fire in his eyes still burned. He had one mission, now, awaken Project Phoenix, and bring back his people. Beside him, the AI Argo displayed the coordinates, a region of space without light. No planets, no stars, just darkness. But at the center, something massive, a hidden vault. Old Terran design, buried inside a dead star. Only one ship knew how to reach it. The Resolute dot, as they approached, strange energies twisted around them. The star was collapsed, but not dead. Its core pulsed with silent fury. Argo spoke. Quantum locks detected. Access codes required. Captain Rain stepped forward. He placed the crystal from the cryopod into a glowing slot. The system lit up. Old Terran words flashed. Welcome, Captain Rain. Phoenix protocol recognized. Then the star split open from the center of the dark star. A massive object rose. Not a ship, not a station, but a vault. A metal sphere the size of a moon, engraved with one symbol, Terra. The vault opened, light spilled out, and inside thousands of cryo-pods. All human. All sleeping. All waiting. Captain Rain's hands shook. His voice cracked. They made it. Argo scanned the pods. DNA confirmed. Terran genetic code. Multiple generations. Engineers, pilots, scientists, children, a full society. Frozen in time, waiting to return. But there was a problem. One Argo hadn't predicted. Another signal appeared, buried beneath the vault's systems. Old, corrupted, but clear. Warning, vault compromised. Do not awaken. Contamination, risk level, Omega. Captain Rain frowned. What contamination? Argo responded. Unknown biological data detected. Signs of non-Terran interference. Risk, extreme. They had a choice. Wake humanity. Or risk losing everything again. Rain stared through the glass at the sleeping. Faces, mothers, fathers, children, hope. But something stirred at the edge of the vault. A sound like metal dragging. Security drones inside the vault flickered lights. Dimmed, shadows moved. Then they saw it. A shape, not machine, not human. Something else. Something that moved wrong. Fast, silent, with too many limbs. And no face. Argo scanned it. Entity origin, unknown status. Hostile, Rain's voice. Turned cold. How did it get in? Possibly breached during Ark's fall. Dormant until vault activation. More shapes moved in the shadows. Not one, dozens, maybe more. They had been waiting, and now they were waking up too. Captain Rain's voice hardened. We have to clear the vault before we wake them, Argo replied, confirmed. Engaging combat mode. The Resolute released drones into the vault, not the standard ones. These were older, stronger, built for extermination. Terran Hunter-class units. They dropped silently through the vault's center, spinning, scanning, ready. The first enemy attacked. Fast, a leaping shadow, blades for arms, black skin like armor. The drone fired. One shot, its head exploded. But more came. Climbing walls, smashing lights, screaming without mouths. The vault turned into chaos. A war in the dark. But the Resolute did not stop. Drones fought without fear. Each enemy studied, scanned, and destroyed. But there were many, and the vault was massive. Captain Rain moved into the command chamber. He watched the battle through a screen. He saw the creatures. He saw the danger. But he also saw something else. In the back of the vault, a locked chamber, with different energy, something even older, something the creatures were protecting. He told Argo, "Get me down there." Argo hesitated. High risk. I risk I. Wasn't asking. A hatch opened. Rain dropped into the vault in a sealed suit. A drone followed him. He moved fast, avoided the fight, moved deeper into the vault's core toward the hidden door. It was sealed with an old Terran symbol, Phoenix Prime. He inserted the crystal again. The door hissed open, and inside he found it. Not a weapon, not a computer. A girl, sleeping in a different kind of pod. One marked Phoenix 1. Argo scanned her age 16 DNA, Terran Prime modifications, advanced neural systems, biological enhancements, cryosuspended potential. Unknown. Rain whispered. Who are you? Then he saw the file next to her pod, a message from Earth's last scientists. If everything fails, this is our answer. She's not just human, she's the next step. A mind that can rebuild civilizations, a heart that remembers Earth. Protect her at all costs. Suddenly, the vault shook, an explosion nearby. The creatures had found them. Rain opened the pod. The girl gasped, her eyes opened bright silver. She looked at Rain and said one word. You came. Then she fainted. Rain carried her back toward the drop point. Behind him more creatures, screeching, chasing. He ran fast. Drones fired behind him, covering, falling. Rain shouted, Argo, lock on now. A beam pulled them both out back into the Resolute. The vault doors closed. The creatures screamed from behind metal. Then silence. Back inside the medbay, Argo scanned the girl again. Stable, sleeping, alive. Captain Rain sat beside her. His voice quiet, almost broken. We're not done yet, but we have a chance, Argo replied. The vault remains dangerous, but humanity may rise again. In the quiet of the ship, one new light blinked. A new mission, a new future, and the spark was now flame. The galaxy was quiet, but it was not peace. It was the silence before something greater. Something had awakened inside the Resolute. A Terran girl cryoslept for centuries now, breathed again. She was the last creation of Earth, and the only hope left for humanity's return. Her name had not been given, but soon the galaxy would know it. Captain Elias Rain stood by her bedside. Her silver eyes blinked open slowly. She looked around, confused but calm. The ship lights reflected in her pupils. Where am I? She asked. Rain knelt beside her. You're aboard the Resolute, he said. You've been asleep for a long time. The girl sat up. I remember. Voices, she whispered. People screaming, a world falling. Rain's face was tight with grief. That was Earth, he said softly. But now, it's just memories. Argo's voice echoed in the room. Designation, Phoenix 1. Purpose, rebuild, lead. Protect. The girl looked up. I have a name, she said, but I don't remember it yet. Rain smiled faintly. Then we'll find it together. Suddenly, alarms flared. Red lights, emergency sirens. Argo's voice turned sharp warning. Vault breach. Creatures escaping containment. Countdown. 6 minutes. Rain's heart dropped. They're breaking out. The creatures inside the vault, the twisted things that hunted humans had, found a way to override the lock. If they got free into space, they could infect planets, devour colonies, end everything. Again, RA turned to Phoenix 1. You're not ready to lead yet, but you can survive. Her silver eyes widened. What are you doing? Rain stood tall. I'm ending it. Turned to Argo. Give me manual control of the reactor. Argo hesitated. Doing so will destroy the Resolute and the vault. Rain nodded. I know. Phoenix 1 stood up suddenly. You're going to die, she said. You can't leave me alone. Rain turned to her. He placed something small. In her hand, a chip. This holds every lesson I've ever learned. Every war, every choice. He smiled, tired but proud. You'll do better than we did. Argo opened a secure pod. Phoenix 1 entered. It would eject her far into deep space, far beyond the explosion. Rain sealed it himself. She looked at him through the glass. And for the first time, she cried. So did he. But neither looked away. The pod launched, fast, silent. Alone, Argo tracked. It trajectory clear, life signs stable. Rain turned to the command deck. His voice was steady. Time to end the war. For good, the Resolute powered its core. The engines roared louder than ever before. It turned back toward the vault, now crawling with monsters, dark clouds spilling into space. Rain aimed straight for them. His hands gripped the controls. He didn't pray. He didn't fear. He just remembered the Earth, his crew, the people who died too soon, the ones who never had a chance. Then he smiled, because he had given that chance back to her, to Phoenix 1, to the future. The Resolute hit the vault, like thunder. The explosion lit up dead space, a blast brighter than any star. The creatures screamed, then vanished in flame. Argo's voice faded. Mission complete. Terra reborn. Then silence. Far away, Phoenix 1's pod floated in darkness. She saw the flash, felt the shockwave, knew what had happened. She pressed the data chip to her chest and whispered, "Thank you, Captain." Weeks later, a rebel scouting vessel found her. They brought her aboard, unsure who or what she was. I'm here to rebuild what was lost. They asked her name. She paused, then said, I am Phoenix, and I remember everything now. Phoenix would grow fast, faster than anyone expected. She would lead engineers, unite old allies, heal broken worlds. She would speak of Earth, not as myth, but as truth, and of the Resolute, not as a ship, but as a flame. One that burned bright enough to wake the stars. Years passed, then decades. Under Phoenix's leadership, the Terran Federation was born. Not an empire, not a weapon, but a promise that no voice would be silenced, no world would be forgotten, and no shadow would rise without a light to face it. At the heart of the Federation, a single statue stood. A dark ship, a proud captain, and a young girl, with silver eyes. Below it, words were carved into the stone. Humanity fell once, but from the ashes, we rose again. The end.
The sky over the galactic core was still. No more movement, no more pulses. Just the quiet hum of the Rage engine, holding position at the center of the star map, between the ruins of old stars and the last lines of the Allied fleet. Inside the star cage, Vera Holt stood alone. Her voice echoed into every command center across the galaxy. It stopped. For the first time in weeks, the red lights faded from the engine's ships. The massive wave of fury, of memory, of pain. It had gone quiet. But no one was cheering. No one fired a final shot, because they knew it was still watching. In the heart of the engine, the storm of voices slowed. The red core pulsed softly, like a sleeping heart. Vera stood in the quiet, facing the projection of Elian, the child who had survived the massacre of Kavros. Except now he was something else. A symbol, a voice, maybe even a soul if machines could have one. I don't understand, Vera whispered. You could have destroyed them all. Elian looked at her, his voice gentle. That wasn't the point. She blinked. Then what was? He stepped forward, red light trailing behind him. You made us to remember. And when no one else cared, we kept remembering. But now they remember too. All across the galaxy, something strange began happening. On the Threxian world of Velmora, statues were no longer rebuilt. Instead, walls were painted with names of the dead, human and alien alike. In the Koran clans, old warlords laid down their weapons, placing candles on graves they had never visited before. On Ziril, children gathered around broken screens and listened to old human songs. Songs about Earth, love, and loss. The engine hadn't destroyed the galaxy. It had forced it to feel, to mourn, to accept, to remember. Back aboard the human command ship, Earth's leaders waited for Vera's order. The star cage was ready. One word from her, and the entire engine would be sealed, trapped forever. But she didn't give it. Not yet. Instead, she opened the comms to every fleet. I know what you're all thinking, she said. You're wondering if it's safe to let it live. But the truth is, it's not alive. Not like us. It's pain. It's grief. It's memory. And it only became dangerous because we refused to listen. Inside the star cage, Elian slowly began to fade. I don't want to disappear, he whispered. You won't, Vera promised. We'll tell your story. He looked up at her, hope in his glowing eyes. Will they listen now? She took a deep breath. I think they finally are. The Galactic Alliance faced a vote. Trap the engine forever, or let it exist, untouched, floating near the galactic core, as a reminder. The vote was close, divided, but then the Ziril Queen stood and said, We spend centuries building empires. Let us now build something else. Memory. And with those words, the galaxy chose peace. The red ships of the Rage Armada stopped moving. Some melted into light. Some folded into themselves, vanishing like fog. Others stayed, silent guardians, orbiting lonely stars. Their names still glowed, their pain still present, but their rage had settled. Not forgotten, just remembered. Years passed. The rage engine was never dismantled. Instead, it became a monument, a glowing world-sized core, with the names of the lost endlessly scrolling across its surface. Pilgrims visited. Soldiers prayed before it. Children whispered to the stars, asking the engine to hear their dreams. And sometimes, the engine answered, with a quiet pulse, a small red light in the dark. A reminder, General Vera Holt never returned to Earth. She stayed aboard the star cage, now renamed the Watchtower, orbiting the engine. She aged. Her hair turned silver. But every night, she sat alone with the logs from Kavros. Not because she couldn't let go, but because she chose not to. Because remembering was the only way to stop it from ever happening again. On the 20th anniversary of the engine's awakening, a message was carved into the heart of the Watchtower. We were never the weakest species. We were just the angriest. And when our grief became too loud to ignore, the stars finally listened. In the end, the galaxy did not burn. But it changed. Borders shifted. Enemies became listeners. Histories were rewritten to include the names of those once ignored. And in every school on every world, one lesson was always taught. Never forget. Because memory was not weakness. It was power. And rage, when remembered too long, could shape the stars. The end.